Let's touch on some vocabulary today. There are different words that describe the movement of plants and animals across the planet. And many people want to conflate these words as all meaning the same thing, but they actually mean three very distinctly different things. And today I want to discuss the distinct difference in those words. Those words are immigration, migration, and colonization. Now, immigration and colonization generally only refer to human beings, but migration happens in every species, including the plants. You might migrate a few feet as your seeds are dropping, but those few feet over thousands of years can make a huge difference. Now, migration can actually mean two different things. You can either be a migratory animal. That means that to get your sustenance, your caloric intake that you need to get all your needs met, you migrate along a path over the course of the seasons, like the birds flying south for the winter and flying north for the summer. This is migration. The birds pick up their entire flock and fly south for the winter because anybody left behind is going to freeze in that cold northern weather. Migration can also mean picking up your entire group and moving to a new area. Now, this can happen for a couple of different reasons. You can have gone through all the resources in the area that you're in, and you need to move to a further space. If you're a human, you're probably really curious over what's over the next horizon, and so you pick up your group and you move to the next space. Important notes within migration is that it is a whole community moving. You do not leave behind your parents and your siblings and just you and your friends go. Your whole community picks up and moves. You leave no one behind but the dead. Sometimes, because sometimes you actually take your dead with you. The important difference with immigration is that when you're moving into a space, there are people already there. There's a community already there. And you, as an immigrant, become a member of that community. You offer your skills to that community, you work within that community, and you follow the structure of that community, the social structure, the religious structure, the governmental structure of that community. You might bring in some new ideas, but you're not trying to replace that community's ideas with your ideas. Now, note with immigration and migration, many times you take your entire community with you. With migration, almost always you take your entire community with you. The only difference would be an initial break off from an initial community, and then as you are moving, you take the entire community broken off. An example. If I was a member of the Homo erectus species that is in Africa, and I was a member of a community of Homo erectus, and me and about 30 or 40 of my family members and smaller unit of the community decided that we were going to leave the 30 or 40 other members of our community behind and start moving out of Africa into Georgia at 1.8 million years ago, the community that I am taking with me is leaving behind an initial community. But once it leaves behind that initial community, it takes the entire community across its migration path. It had an initial starting point and a community in the initial starting point. But once it leaves the starting point, the new community is a solid community that consistently moves along the same migration path. Sometimes immigration does that. It will leave, a huge group will leave a community and go to another community as a community themselves and become a part of this new community. And maybe that doesn't work out and they take that community and they move to another community. Think of the religious immigration out of England, right? Escaping England, going to Holland. And when Holland doesn't work, the entire community still picks up and immigrates to an entirely new country. Of course, at that point, They were moving into colonization. So let's discuss the difference in colonization. The Puritans went from England to Holland. They thought that they could practice their religion within the constructs of Holland's government and society. When they found that they couldn't, instead of trying to change Holland, they decided to no longer be immigrants, but to enter into a path of colonization. Now, colonization is where an outpost of a home community plants itself on a new space where there is already a community, a society, a civilization, human beings, and decides to impart their government, their life ways, their spirituality, their everything onto that group of people. This is the important distinction between immigration and colonization. When you immigrate, you move into a new space that is already occupied and you become a part of the community. You are not trying to go with your bad self main character complex. You are trying to become a part. When you colonize, you are going to a space where there is a community and a society already in existence, and you are imposing your own government structure, spirituality, society, life ways on that community, always in violence. Colonization is about enforcing your belief system on another group, because society itself devolves down to belief system. So it's important to remember the distinction between these three vocabulary words that describe the movement of humans across the planet. Migration, where you take your entire community and move along a path of sustenance, meeting your nutritional needs, either in a yearly cycle or in a multi-generational pathway. Immigration, where you and members of your community move into a new community and you adapt to the life ways of the community that you are moving into. And colonization, where you and a group of your buddies decide to go and impose who you are and your life ways on another group of people at the end of a sword, gun, or your nastiness. I hope that the definition of these three vocabulary words improves understanding as to how Homo sapien moves across the planet, because we will be discussing that over the next few days. Take care, everybody. Have a great one.